Are live and in living color, I think.
Are we?
All right, let's double check here. Hi, everybody. We should be live, and I'm just going to open up my little Facebook thingy-madoogie dad here, my little Facebook gimmick. And yeah, we are certainly live and in living color. And got a couple shares already.
Oh, there it
Welcome,
is.
everybody.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh,
Me and my goofy glasses. Well, another episode, and before we get started here, you can notice I've got these lovely new spectacles here because I'm getting kind of old, and so I now have to wear these spectacles so I can see what I'm doing.
You know, it could be worse.
It could be worse. I could have no eyes at all.
You could be me.
Is that just
I'm
in
really
general,
old.
or?
Yeah, I'm really old. Look at my beard. It wasn't too long ago. This was not
See what
great.
I'm doing. Oh, look at
You know,
that. I hit the little button there. There we go.
Oh,
We're hearing
okay.
ourselves. Yeah, so, you know, the story behind these glasses here, a couple months ago, I started to, I would wake up and I couldn't see anything. Like, I couldn't look at my phone. It was like, I can't see anything. And then, one day it would be fine, and then another day I couldn't see my phone again and couldn't read my watch. And, you know, finally I went down to CVS and bought, a pair of reading glasses for, $3. And what was funny about it was I put these things on, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm going, holy cow. It was like a whole new world. My vision probably had been so bad that when it got really bad, I finally bought them, but it was so much better. It was probably better than it's been in 20 years. And, so I started using these reading glasses, but the problem with the reading glasses is I'd wear them, and then I'd take them off, and I couldn't see anything. After I took them off for about 5 minutes, it would be all messed up. And I was in a store the other day, and they had these ones here that are called they're called Multiview. Mm-hmm. And again, these are just like a Walgreens or whatever, and but they're a little more expensive. But I can wear these, and I can see far away, and I can see the computer screen at the same time, and I can see the phone close up. So it kind of works in all different levels. So I'm really liking that so far. Even though these are the only kind, they only had this and one other style, and the style's kind of dorky. I need something a little better than that. But
it's I was joking. I said, where'd you steal those off a dead millennial? But they are
right?
kind
Well,
of,
they're not kind of they're kind of the millennial type. They're a little too farty, I think. For
I know, but they're kind of, I don't know. They're stylish. You know?
So I like this new feature in Facebook here, where as people join us, it gives us a big green link showing us who's here. So Ron and Doug and Gary and Victor and David and Andre, welcome. Glad to have you on here.
Cool.
Stick around. We're actually going to do a show here in a minute. We're just kind of chatting before we get started here. Hope everybody's doing well. If you like what you hear, of course, give us a like, give us a love, give us a little happy face, or give us the little sad face if you don't like what you hear, or angry if you think what we say makes you angry. But we're going to be talking today about unique video ranking tips, and it's not going to be your traditional stuff, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and one that, I'll tell you where this came from is a new product that just came out, and so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So, all right, Steve, are you ready?
I am indeed ready, sir.
All right, with that said, let's get the official show on the road here. And you ready? In 3, 2, 1. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, unique tips for ranking videos. And today's episode is made possible by, we're going to do something different today. It's made possible by a program called Lingo Blaster. A Lingo Blaster allows you to translate your videos into multiple languages on YouTube so that people from different areas of the world can start watching your videos. Did you know that 75% of all searches on YouTube are not in English? You are losing out on 75% of your potential traffic, but with Lingo Blaster, you can now convert your videos to all sorts of languages, which will allow you to get an even greater audience and rank better, not only for your listing, but for the listings in multiple languages. Check it out right now at raythevideoguy.com/lingo, LINGO. And we'll leave the last G-O on there for go, as in go check it out right now.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
But stay to
Very
watch
cool.
the show, too. So keep us going.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
so with that, let's hit the funky music, Steve. Here we go.
Hit that funky music, Ray.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy. And I'm Steve Sleeper on the Earn.Show podcast network. Check out our Facebook page. If you ever want to just get past episodes, we post them a couple of times a day, going back, 5 years or something.
Has it been 5 years? My God.
3 years. Yeah, let's see. Well,
it's been a while.
2013. Yeah, it's been 5 years we've been doing the show. And I think the episodes go back 3 that I post.
Because we used to be on a different location, and so some of those episodes are kind of lost in a different feed somewhere. Mm-hmm. But, it's funny. So many shows only last, 20 episodes. And here we are on 5 years worth of episodes. 5 years. And the funny thing is, those guys that quit, they probably make a lot more money doing it than we have in 5 years. So that's something to be said about that as well. But we appreciate each and every one of our listeners, and we are growing. And the Facebook Live, version of this that we do as we're recording it certainly gets a lot of viewers each and every week, as well as listeners, and of course the podcast gets quite a few. So we appreciate each and every one of you. As they say, the listeners are the backbone of what we do. So
heck yeah.
Keep it going. We'd love to get your 5-star reviews, so be sure to do that. Be sure to like if you're watching live on Facebook, and we'll reward you with more good content. So there you go.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to today's show. Unique video ranking tips. That's kind of my thing, video ranking and citations and signals and stuff like that. So I'll be listening with bated breath. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I still don't know what bated means, but I know the phrase is correct.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Well, in any case, we want to talk about, the reason I want to talk about ranking videos is I've started to get back into that quite a bit. For a while, I wasn't doing a ton of that, but as I've picked up a couple of new local clients, that's going to be one of the focuses that we're having, is updating their YouTube channel and making sure that their videos are ranking well and that they're getting calls and hopefully making more sales. And so I wanted to do an episode where we talked a little bit about some of the unique things that we can do to help rank our videos. Now, there's two different things I want to talk about when it comes to ranking. There's YouTube ranking, and of course, there's Google ranking. Now, a lot of people see Google ranking as kind of the holy grail of all this, but don't be afraid to really focus on YouTube when it comes to ranking, because quite honestly, while Google may be the king, you got to understand that a lot of times when people are they're searching on Google, they may not be looking for a video. And therefore, even if your video shows up, it may not be relevant to what they're doing. However, if they're searching on YouTube, they're looking for a video. And that gives you a lot more potential. But a lot of people kind of, they kind of gloss over the YouTube part of it and go straight to Google. But the YouTube traffic, while maybe not the same as the Google traffic, is probably a little bit more focused and a little bit more, set for what you're offering. Now, of course, the downside of that is they're seeing a lot of videos and they could choose a variety of different videos. Whereas on Google, if they're looking for a video and it's the only one, well, then you can do pretty well. But the point being is we want to focus on both of those. And believe it or not, the ranking factors can be a little bit different. For instance, when we talk about Google, the number of likes you got on your YouTube video, probably not a major factor on Google. Google is looking for relevancy. And yeah, maybe, obviously, caveat here, nobody really knows, regardless of what they say, nobody really knows what Google's looking for, especially because they're probably going to change it slightly tomorrow anyway. So the point being is what we have to do is we have to see what works and we have to use it until it doesn't work and then move on to other things. But for the most part, you want to get your likes, you want to get your views, you want to get your comments, you want to get your shares, because those do help definitely in YouTube and likely in Google to an extent. But again, the number of likes you get or thumbs up you get on Google, or on YouTube, is probably not going to have a major impact on how it searches in Google. It may, but likely it seems like it's not as big a factor there. The things that are really factors in places like Google are things like the title, the tags, the description, all the stuff that they can look at and they can read. Because the bottom line is, whenever you're doing any kind of SEO, you have to think, what does Google feel comfortable sharing? And the more comfortable they are with sharing what you have, because it's backed by social proof. It's backed by people linking to it. It's backed by, low bounce rates, things like that, the better you're going to do. And that goes with video as well. And video is, a YouTube video is fantastic for things like bounce rate, because if you think about it, people don't usually go to a YouTube page and immediately go back. They might do that on your web page, but in a YouTube page, they're probably at least going to watch the video for a few seconds before deciding to bounce out, which is better than they'll do on a page. If they go to a page, they don't like it, they're out of there in 2 seconds. They go to your page with your YouTube channel or your YouTube video page, they're at least going to watch a few seconds of that and then make a decision and then bounce out, which is going to help out a little bit as well. But obviously, things like backlinks are still a major factor in Google ranking, and you need to be able to do that with your YouTube videos. So, of course, all the traditional stuff that we talk about with ranking still applies. You want to make sure that you've got your keyword. You want to put your keyword in your title. You want to put your keyword in your descriptions. You want to put your keyword in the tags. You want to choose a proper channel. You want to make sure that your description is nice and long and has a lot of information. You want to make sure that it's got links to relevant places. All those things are definitely going to help. But it's the off-site stuff that really kind of gets people sometimes. Believe it or not, social shares are huge. And I know many people think, it's too simple, social shares, and, what's the big deal? Well, we've done some experiments. And by the way, these were accidental experiments, but ones that even we recorded because we saw the accident and we decided to record and see what happens. And we've seen where back a few years ago, a video that I had that I wanted to rank to the top of page 1 was not showing up anywhere. Wasn't on page 1, wasn't on page 2, wasn't on page 3, 4, 5. I'm like, what's going on? What did I do wrong here? This video probably should do really well. Well, I went and looked, and I noticed that we didn't do any of the social sharing. That's sharing the videos to places like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Digo and Delicious and StumbleUpon and all those places that share your content. And I was using at the time OnlyWire, by the way. So if anyone's curious with that, OnlyWire is a software where you log in once. It has all of those social platforms. You put in your content, and it sends it out to all of them for you. And so we ran that in OnlyWire after seeing it wasn't there, just to see what would happen. Okay, we don't, this thing's been out for a week. It's not ranking anywhere. We forgot to send it through the social markers in OnlyWire. Let's run it and see what happens. And so I made a recording and I showed. I said, okay, it's not here. I showed that it's not there. Ran it through there, and then I went back to look and see what happened. And literally, I had gone back 2 minutes later. It was number 1 on page 1 of Google. So believe me, social, the social sites, the social bookmarking, the social shares can have a big impact. Now, don't get me wrong. This was, a niche product where, it's going to be easy to rank to page 1. So it's not like this was, a diet product that we're trying to rank for the word diet. This was something that can move very quickly and easily. But it showed that when it wasn't there, we ran it through all those different pages, and boom, it immediately jumped to number 1. So very, very powerful. Again, if you're doing New York City plumber, it's going to help. You're probably not going to see the dramatic changes like that, but it's definitely going to be a big help. And Steve, I cut you off. Did you have something you wanted to throw in there?
No, I just yelled plurk.
Plurk, yes. Gotta share it to plurk.
Plurk. Whenever anybody mentions social media, I yell out plurk, and they think I'm weird, and I am.
Indeed, yes. So bottom line is you want to share it on social sites, whether you're using something like OnlyWire, which is inexpensive and very easy to set up and use, or if you want to use SendBuddy, which is our buddy Josh's product, which is fantastic. I know Steve and I both use that one nowadays. Let's see, there's SendWire. There's a whole bunch of them out there that do this for you and allow you to get those nice social proof backlinks and shares on there. And embeds, by the way. Embeds are another thing. So another thing that you want to do, and this is something we did a webinar on back about a week ago, and Steve and I were talking about this beforehand. We did a webinar for a product called Ranking Factory, and what that one does is it uses Google properties to help rank your videos and other things as well. But it embeds your video into a bunch of pages, and it backlinks those pages by using things like Google Docs and calendars, and it's an amazing product. But using Google properties, and again, by properties, I mean anything that's owned by Google, as a way to share a link that's going back is going to be a big help. So whether you put a link in a public calendar, or you put it into Google Sheets and share the Google Sheets out as a public document, all of these things are going to get crawled and they're going to send juice back to that video, and it's going to be a big help. And we've tested this out a few times over the last week, and it works very well, very quickly with videos. It does well with maps, does well with a few things, but with videos, it does a very, very good job. And it's a great and kind of unique way to get backlinks. A lot of people do your traditional link building, which is, comments on blogs or, private blog networks, things like that. The Google property is very easy to do. Now, Ranking Factory makes it extremely easy, whereas, it might take you a long time to do that manually, but it does a tremendous job and really makes a big difference with that. So something to definitely think about is putting your links for your YouTube channel or your YouTube video into things that are owned by Google that are made public, and that can be a big help. Another unique thing, and this is something that people don't think about very often, and that is sharing multiple different links to your YouTube videos. So, for instance, as you know, when you create a video, you've got a link, and the link is youtube.com $V equals and a bunch of letters and numbers. Well, that's just one link that points to that particular video page. There are, I believe, like 32 commonly used different links that refer to that particular video. One would be the shortened version, which is u2.be/ the ID number of the video. Other ones might be, that the long link that we just talked about with a question mark followed by other information, embed links and all these different things that point to that same video. If you use all of these links and share them out to multiple places, you can get some tremendous, video SEO juice from that. So you can share it with indexers. You can share the different links on different places. By the way, you create a Google Sheet, make it public, put all those links in that Google Sheet with you, and boom, there you go. Now you've got all these links going back to the same video. It can be very, very effective. So you want to use all of those links whenever possible to make sure that you're getting more juice out of that particular video. Now, Steve and I both use a product many of you may be familiar with called VidPenguin. And what that one does is you just put in a URL, a video URL, and it pulls all those other versions of that link and then pings all of those links and indexes all of those links. And that way you get more going back to that original video, and it helps to rank it pretty nicely. So another product that can be a big help is to do that. Now, this is one that something that we just started doing, but it's very, very interesting. And it can actually get you about 300% more views to your video. And that is to translate your video into multiple languages. And there was just a product that was released this morning that I've been using for the last couple of days. And the product is called Lingo Blaster. And what it does is you bring your YouTube video into the software, you tell it what languages you want to convert the video to, and it will convert the video to all of those different languages. And then it will post that to your YouTube video. Because what you may not know is if you go to YouTube right now, you go to the top, you pull down that little menu, there's a language button there. You hit the language button. If you switch to Chinese or you switch to Spanish or French or Italian, your video is still going to be in English. But if you use this software, when you go in and you make that change and switch it to Chinese, well, now your video is going to be in Chinese. The description, the title, and everything is not going to be in English anymore. It's going to be in Chinese. You switch to French, it's going to be French, Spanish, Spanish. And so what happens is you get a variety of different languages, people speaking different languages that can now find and use your video, because it also shows up in search. So if somebody is in Spain and they want to look up what your, let's say my review of Lingo Blaster, well, they might type in Spanish, review of Lingo Blaster, which, unfortunately I'm not that good at Spanish, so I can't tell you exactly what that would be. Although I could look it up because I've already done it. But, and I didn't have to know Spanish to do it. But they will search using the Spanish language. Now, they'll probably still say Lingo Blaster because it's the name of the software, but they'll type the search in Spanish. And now my video will show up in the Spanish search because it's in there in Spanish. And that's what makes you get so many more views, because about 75% of all people that search YouTube are not searching in English. Only 25% are searching in English. So out of the however many billions of searches every single month, only 25% are in English. The rest are in other languages. Hindi is a huge one for that. Spanish is a big one. Chinese obviously is very big. So you can take your video now and you can translate it to all these languages. So now you'll show up in the search in those different languages. As they search, they'll find your video. And of course, they'll be able to read the description now, which they probably wouldn't have been able to do before. That gives you more views, more clicks, etc., etc. And on top of that, it has the added benefit of helping your video in English to get higher in the rankings because it has more information. Also, one of the things that Lingo Blaster will do is it will actually make a link in your video itself. So it'll actually go into the description of your video and it will put links to the different language versions in there. So people can actually click right in there and go to it. And that's going to help boost it in the rankings on all of the different languages. So just a really cool, unique way to get some extra juice out of your videos and really get that viral, viralness going on that video. So very cool stuff. So that's Lingo Blaster. And again, that's what the show was made possible by today. So check it out, raythevideoguy.com/Lingo Blaster. And there's your cheap plug of the day. All right, so another unique thing that you can do with your YouTube videos. Now, this is something a little bit more, I don't know if controversial is the right word, because some people say, oh, this is a big help. Some people say this is not a help at all. And that is, I like to put a link to the actual video inside the description of that video. And the idea behind this is it kind of builds a bit of a circle going on there with the, you got the video and the video's got a link back to the video. But what it also does, and this is something that will help you, even if it doesn't help in rankings, it's still a big help for you, is many times people will scrape YouTube for content, post it on their blog. And now in that blog, you've got the link back to that video on somebody else's blog and all those places. So you're getting a little bit of that link juice back there by simply allowing people to embed the video somewhere else. If they take the description with it, which oftentimes those softwares will bring the description in, it's now giving you a link back to your website. If you got that in the description, it's giving you a link back to the video directly if that's in there, and it can help you to rank both of those things because you're getting juice from that website that scraped YouTube. So definitely something you want to do, even if it may or may not directly boost your rankings. It certainly can help. And what I typically like to do is I just put something like, and share this, and then I use whatever my keyword is. So for instance, best roofer in New York. If that's my keyword, then I would put share this best roofer in New York video and then the link to it. And that way you've got your keyword in there again. It makes sense. So if somebody from YouTube was literally looking at it, it's not just a spammed term in there. It's literally in the sentence. It makes sense. And it gives them, there's an actual reason why there's a link to that in there. So it can be a big help. So definitely want to do that. Another great little tip that a lot of people ignore and don't think about is to build what are called silos or stacks. Depending upon who you talk to, they'll call these different things. And what we mean by that is, let's say you've got a YouTube channel and you put in 10 videos. And all 10 videos are about roofing. So video number 1 is how to know if my roof needs repair. Okay, obviously, if it's leaking, but point being, we'll have a video there. How to know if your roof needs repair. Well, at the end of that video, you should have a link to the next video, which might be about, how to repair a hole in your roof. And then that video should be linking to the third video, and the third video might be how to find the best roofer. And that video should be linking to number 4 to number 5, number 5 to number 6, etc., etc., etc. And then at the bottom, when you reach number 10, well, number 10 can lead back to number 1, or it could lead back to the channel itself. And that's going to build what's called a silo or a stack. And a stack allows the juice to flow through each one of them. And of course, on each of those videos, you've still got a link back to your own website. And so that's going to be a big help there as well. So that's some of the things you want to do with that. Now, another thing that some people, again, this is one of those, some people say it helps, some people say it doesn't. You want to put links to authority pages in there. So, for instance, let's say your video is, we'll go back to roofing. You might have a link to a Wikipedia page about roofs, or maybe it's to an authority construction website that talks about roofs. Maybe it's the Home Depot's roofs. I don't know, whatever it happens to be, but an authority link. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute, you're sending people off your stuff to somebody else's site, or you're sending some of that juice out there. So again, this is one of those things that some people say it helps, some people say it doesn't. It's something that I've tested out. To me, my videos tend to rank pretty well because I do a lot of different things to them. I've never seen one drop because we put that in there. Whether it helps or not is up for debate, but a lot of smart people say it does, so it's something worth testing. Put a link to that Wikipedia page or to something of high authority to send some of that juice around. So that's one thing you can definitely do that some people say helps. Tough to say. Now, one other thing I do want to talk about, and this is something that Steve mentioned earlier, and I think it was when we were live, might have been beforehand, before we went live with the show, but he was talking about citations. Now, a citation is a little bit different than a link, and a citation is probably not going to help rank your video at all. But I wanted to mention this because this deals with helping to rank in general. And if you are in business, if you're a local plumber, you're a local roofer, and you're doing videos, there's other things you want to rank. You want your website to rank. You want your Google Maps listing to be in that top 3. And what citations do is give you an opportunity to rank better in the maps, into those top 3 spots, because that's where most of the phone calls come from, in those top 3 spots in the maps. And so the way that you do that is by making sure that a lot of the things we talked about with linking, do that with your maps too. You can link back to that maps page from all of those different things. Share it on your social media, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to help. But one thing you can do is make sure that your name, address, and phone number, in the exact way that Google says your name, address, and phone number should be, is used on all sorts of different sites. So that's like Yellow Pages and Merchant Circle and Yelp and any of those types of directory sites, Hot Frog. Make sure it's in there. But also put it in your YouTube videos. So if you're a local business, you're a roofer, you just made a video made those 10 videos about roofing. In that video, make sure that you put your name, address, and phone number exactly as Google lists it inside of that video. And the reason for that is the way Google ranks your Google My Business listing, or one of the ways, is by looking for that name, address, and phone number throughout the web. As it sees that name, address, and phone number, it says, okay, this is a legitimate business. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll push them up towards the top. So putting your name, address, and phone number on all of the different links is going to be a big help. So put it in all of the videos. Just put it, somewhere down. It doesn't have to be at the top. You can put your description. Then at the bottom, you can put the name, address, and phone number, a link to your website, and then you're pretty good to go. And that's going to help with the Google Maps listing, and of course, help people to just give you a phone call in the first place. Because, obviously if somebody's watching the video, you want them to give you a call. But this won't necessarily help you rank your YouTube video, but it's something worth mentioning because it deals with YouTube and rankings, but you're ranking your Google My Business listing. So just a fun little thing to do there. Now, going back to the video itself and getting the rankings, you want to make sure that your name, address, and phone number your name, address, and phone number, wow. Your title, your description, and your tags are proper, and make sure that you've got the right keywords. So how do you want to structure that listing or that video? Well, what I like to do is I like to try and get the keyword into the title once and sometimes even twice, depending upon how we can word it. If we can word it in a way that it gets in there twice, it could be very useful. So for instance, if we go back to the roofer example, if your video is about a roofer in New York, you might put something like, how to repair, how to find the right New York City roofer. And then after that, you might put a dash and it might say New York City roofer John J. Jones. And so now you've got New York City roofer in there twice, even though you're not just blatantly putting it in there twice. It kind of has a reason behind it. It makes sense. If people are reading the video, it makes sense to them. So then in the description, what I like to do is immediately put that keyword right at the top. And the reason for that is because as different sites read these things, they're only going to read that beginning sometimes. And so you want to have that right at the top because the things at the top are more important. So you put that keyword right at the top. And then I like to put, learn more by visiting website or calling and putting the phone number. And you get that website and phone number right there at the top, the website being the most important thing for most local businesses. So you want to make sure that website is right at the beginning, because if you've looked up any videos in YouTube lately, you'll notice that now they only show the top 2 lines usually of that description, and then you have to hit the more button to see the rest. So you want to make sure that that link is right there at the top, because that way, even if they don't hit that more button, they can still click on your link. and go back to your website. The other thing to note about that is make sure that you put http://www.website.com, because if you don't put all of that in there, it's not going to be clickable. Again, that has nothing to do with ranking, but the description is a part of ranking, and I just want to make sure that that's put out there so that you do that properly. So a proper description. What do you want in a proper description? You want to make sure that it is keyword rich, so have a few different keywords. Make sure it's a nice article about what the video represents. So if the video is about finding a roofer, then you need to have a nice short article about finding a roofer in that area. Maybe it's best practices to find a roofer, whatever it happens to be, but it has to relate to what's in the video and have some of those keywords in there in a way that makes sense and doesn't sound spammy. Then for the local business, I like to put information about the business itself. So this would be, usually this comes directly from the business's about page. Go to the about page, grab what's there, stick it on there. So, it's got all the information. Then the name, address, and phone number, the authority links, the link back to the video itself, the link to another video, and then the keyword at the end. I like to put the keyword at the end because sometimes some scrapers look for that keyword, they look at the beginning and the end and put dots in the middle, whatever, top part, ... end part. And that way you got that keyword in there right away in both spots. So that's something else to make sure that you do. Your tags. Now, tags are not hugely important when it comes to Google SEO, but they do have some bearing on there, or potentially have some bearing on there. So you want to make sure that you get all of those tags in there that you can. Anything that's a keyword related to that video, get it in there as a tag. Fill that up and make sure that it's relevant to what's going on there. And what this will do is it'll help to make sure that when people are searching certain things on YouTube, that they find your video more relevant, and they'll be able to pull it up. On Google, maybe not so much, but it certainly can be a factor. And again, they change things all the time. Tomorrow it might become one of the biggest factors. So you never know. You want to fill it out as best you can. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do, and these are some of the little tips that kind of give you a little bit of a boost, especially on YouTube, is once you have your video up there, people are going to start watching the video. Maybe they're going to comment on your video. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you comment on your video and pin that comment to the top. Or if somebody else comments and you like it, pin that to the top. It's a small factor, but it helps paint a picture of a video that is robust, that's getting people watching. Somebody's taking the time to pin that comment to the top. Make sure you go back and like those comments. Respond to people. Make sure that you heart some of those comments. And the reason for that is all of these are little micro actions that help to build a bigger picture for YouTube to be able to rank that video up there. So anything you can do with that is going to be a big help. So I highly recommend that you do all of those things to make a big difference. Now, one final thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, because we've been yabbering on here for over a half hour now. One of the things that, again, this is one of those things that some people say makes a difference, some people say doesn't. But quite honestly, why not do it? Because even if it doesn't hurt you either way. And this has to do with your files before you even upload them. So if you've got a video on your hard drive, you're going to put it on YouTube, name the file with the actual keyword that you're using. So New York City roofer, or whatever that keyword is, name your file with that. You can also go into the actual metadata of the file and put information in there. So you can put descriptions and tags for that. Again, this is one of those things where some people say makes no difference at all. Some people say makes a big difference. Why not do it? What the heck? If it doesn't work, you've done nothing but, lose a few seconds of time. So put that stuff into the video itself. Change the title of it. Make sure you go into the metadata. Hey, we just lost Steve. See you, Steve. So make sure you put the metadata in there so that it has all of these different things going, and you can hopefully get something out of that. And Steve is back. Welcome back, Steve.
Oh, okay. So you were there. You were there the whole time, but I wasn't?
Yes,
Was that the deal?
You got cut off somehow, but that's all right.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
So with that, that's just another little tip is to make sure that you do that with your files, because again, if it doesn't help, well, it doesn't hurt either, but it can help, potentially. So you might as well do it. Some people say it's a pretty big helping factor. So naming your files with the keyword, putting the metadata in there, can't hurt. I know on a lot of photo sharing sites, it makes a big difference as far as people finding things. So it would make sense that it could potentially help with videos as well. So highly recommend you take the time to do that as well. Steve, go for it.
Yeah, and as far as putting the metadata on the file itself, I know it's easier to do it on a Mac than a PC, but there is a free shareware out there that I use that I like called MP3 tag. Now, I know it says MP3 tag, but it also tags MP4s.
Beautiful.
And I use it for podcasts, and I thought one day I'm going to see if this works for MP4s, and it does. So I'm able to tag it with the keywords. I'm able to put a graphic on it, a thumbnail on it, and again, people say, yeah, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't, but I think it helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other word of advice is be creative with your keywords that you're looking for as well. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I do, because I do a lot of product reviews, and so for instance, with Lingo Blaster today, one of my keywords was not Lingo Blaster, believe it or not. I mean, it was a keyword that I used in there. Obviously, it is a keyword, but the main keyword that I'm going after when I'm doing reviews for that software are things like Lingo Blaster bonus, because that's the type of stuff that people are really, a lot of times they know what they want, and so they're searching specifically. For instance, maybe they want to buy a Mustang from a local dealership. Well, they're probably not going to put in Ford Mustang. They're going to go at, because that's what general people do, looking for the Ford website. But if they're looking to buy the actual car, they might type where to buy Ford Mustang, or best Ford Mustang deal, things like that, where it's a little bit longer tail, but it's going to be a higher quality search. And one of the examples I always use for that is carpet cleaner. If you ask 5 people, what's a tell me what a carpet cleaner is, a third of them are going to say, well, it's a guy in a big truck who comes and cleans your carpet. Another third might say, well, it's a spray that you buy that you put on your carpet so you can wipe up, messes. And another one would say, well, it's a little machine you go and you rent or you buy and you use to clean your rugs, right? All 3 are carpet cleaners. So if you are a carpet cleaner, you're a person with a truck who goes out and cleans carpets. If you're going after carpet cleaner, you may have an issue, because a lot of the traffic might be looking for the spray bottle. They might be looking to buy a machine. And so you really need to think about those kinds of things when you're setting up with your keywords, is think about what really targets down that audience to make sure that you're getting the exact people that you want for that particular search. So just a little bit of word of advice for the last little section of this. And with that, we will bring this to a close. But of course, before we do, I want to know what you think of all this. So what do you do to rank videos? Do you have some special little tricks that you do? If you do, of course, let us know by contacting us on our Facebook page, or if you're watching this on Facebook Live, put a comment down below. Maybe even tell us in the iTunes reviews when you're giving us a 5-star rating. We'd love to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that,
I do want to share one thing.
Sure.
There is a Google Chrome plugin called Keywords Everywhere. It's a keyword tool. And historically, what it's done is just giving you the number of searches on a keyword. You just enter the keyword, and then it's going to give you the number of searches.
Nice.
Now what they're doing on kind of the right side of the browser is giving you other searches that are associated with that keyword. So if you Google roofer in New York, it's going to show you other things that are getting searches as well, like best roofer in New York and shake shingle roofer in New York. I mean, I'm making this
I love
up
it. Metal roofing.
Metal roofing is a
very
good one.
specific thing that people.
And
are
it's
looking
going to
for.
show you the number of searches too. So
that's awesome.
Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome plugin, and I'm pretty happy with it.
I was not familiar with that, but now I'm going to have to go get it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I like to do, and this is very useful as well, is go to Google and just start typing in, your main keyword. And what's going to happen is you're going to get those suggestions that pop down, and those suggestions are what other people are searching. So if you're trying to find a keyword that you can rank for, test that out. See what people are searching just by, put in roofer, ROF, see what comes down. And if you see like certain terms, New York City roofer, New York roofer, whatever it happens to be, those are keywords that people are physically typing into their keyboard. So therefore, you want to use them when you can. And it's a great way to kind of just steal some ideas with that. So autocomplete, yes. Mm-hmm. And we've got some tricks about that as well. So
yeah, it's very important.
And before we get out of here, I do actually one other thing that I wanted to mention. And this is mostly for people watching live. If you're watching this in the future, we'll have to drop a link in there. But we're actually going to be having a webinar this week coming up that's going to be on getting views and subs and likes in a very unique way, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to be with a good friend of mine, Michael Bose, who many of you may know, and he's created a new software that allows people to get together and get more views for everybody's videos, likes, all that kind of stuff. So very, very cool stuff. I've started using it. Works really, really well. I'm very excited about this. It's going to be this Thursday because, of course, on YouTube, the number of likes that you get, the number of views that you get is going to be a factor. And it may be a factor on Google to an extent, too. So you definitely want to...
Watch time. Watch time certainly is on
Watch
Google.
time, absolutely. So this Thursday, and I don't think we've nailed down the actual time yet. We should know over the weekend exactly what time, but it's going to be this upcoming Thursday, this webinar for getting more views, more likes, more shares, more favorites. Very, very cool stuff. Very exciting.
Groovy.
Very exciting.
Groovy.
So.
Well, good show, Ray, and it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy. I'm Steve Sleeper on the Show Podcast Network, and today's show made possible by
Lingo Blaster. We talked about it earlier in the show, a software that automatically, well, not automatically, but allows you to very quickly and easily with a few clicks of the mouse turn your videos into other languages. So as you create a video in English, you can now translate it to over 100 different languages. So you can choose Chinese and Hindi and Spanish and Russian and whatever it is that you want. It'll translate the videos to those languages so that you can serve those audiences as well, and so that you can rank better, not only in those different languages, but in English as well. So it's Lingo Blaster, a tremendous software. It's on sale right now for a very, very good price. I believe it's like $27. So well worth it at that price. And all you have to do is go into the software, put in your video, tell them which one, choose the languages, press a button, and it's just going to translate it to those languages. You hit publish, and it's all part of that one video, by the way. I don't know if people understand this, but when you put up your one video, it's kind of like hidden texts that are in there. So in other words, you'll still see the English, but the Spanish version is there. You just don't see it unless you're in Spanish language YouTube, and then it shows you the Spanish instead. So it's the same video, the same link, everything's the same. It's just in multiple languages that you won't see unless you're using that language. So yes, and
cool.
Josh says, Lingo what? So Lingo it's a very easy software, turns your videos into multiple languages automatically right on YouTube so that you can rank higher and serve more audiences. So there you go. It's at raythevideoguy.com/lingo. Lingo.
Well, let's wrap it up with that funky music.
Well, I think we shall do just that, and here we go. Maybe.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.